Ladies and gentlemen, Red Fox.
Thank you. Thank you if you applauded. No, I'm not going to thank the ones that didn't applaud, because least you could do is welcome me, because it's going to be tough entertaining you tonight. I just received a telegram from the War Department. My youngest brother was shot in the canal zone, and you know how that hurts. I just sent out a little feeler to see what type of crowd this was. I make party records for a living, and it's possible some of you could leave here not liking me. But always remember this: I didn't have to be here trying to entertain you. I could be somewhere in a dark alley with a lead pipe waiting on one of you suckers. So remember that. How you both? Congratulations, sir. Right. I could tell you had that look, y'all. I got some kids of my own somewhere. Oh, my first wife left me. Said, Fox, you don't stop coming home with lipstick all over your shirt. I'm gonna leave you. I told her like General MacArthur told his troops at Corregidor, bye. Yeah, I don't believe in arguing. That's it. I like to see folks laugh. Might as well have some fun, because World War III is next. If you don't believe me, count them. Yes, I was a hero. Who do you think they named the foxhole after? Hubert? You ever hear of a soldier laying in a Humphrey hole? It's a foxhole, isn't it? That's me, Fox. Red Fox. I don't fool around. Listen, I know that stuff. I told Patrice Lumumba in 1957. I said, Lumi, we were that close. I said, Lumi, get out that group, man. Join the Elks. People won't listen to you. I tried to help somebody else, but I don't remember who it was. I was young then, teenager. I've had these supernatural powers for years. Amelia Earhart, I told her, I said, baby, take the boot. I love television, but it's prejudice. And a lot of those shows, The Untouchables is the most prejudiced show in America. And you know good and well we must have had one Negro gangster somewhere. Look in the penitentiary if you don't believe me. What are they in there for? All you hear about is Frank Nitti, Alphonse Capone. What about Sam Johnson and Razor Willie? Two bad mother swingers. See me throw that swingers in there? That's class, that's class. I like to pause it. You having any fun, sir? Sure got a wonderful way of showing it. Forget about the group for tonight, you know what I mean? And just enjoy this, you know what I mean? I don't join up with no groups myself, because I got my own thinking going. I don't care what color you are. If you get to heaven and the Lord's a Puerto Rican, you're in trouble. Because you haven't been treating them good either. And Indians need a break. You just don't take a man's buffalo away and think he's going to forget you. Buffalo was man's first love of the prairie. Then sheep took over. It eliminated tiptoeing. Oh, give me a home where the short buffalo roam. I want to plug my sponsors now. I like to plug Hazel Bishop. I like to plug Lady Esther. I like to plug Miss Clairol, Dorothy Gray, and Jacqueline Cochran. I'm not too particular about plugging Richard Hudnut. Yeah, it's a little behind in his orders. Thank you, sir. You're in the service, right? I can tell that laugh. That's a service laugh. Listen, World War II, I was shot in the face. You'd laugh at a war wound? Didn't heal too good, did it? Sniper threw a hand grenade, tore my other face away, and a team of doctors grafted skin, grafted more skin, made me a new face. I don't know where they got the meat from, but every time I get tired, my jaws want to sit down. See you laughing behind your hand, sir. It's all right. Don't be sneaky like that, man. Listen. But listen, in 1871, I was laying there trying to get some FM on the stereo. Sound dirty don't mean nothing. By the way, FM was stolen from us, and they switched the initials. But if you figured it out, you might as well enjoy it. We're gonna sing something now, like sing along with Mitch. I'm not Mitch, but my father's name was Mitch, so you're singing along with the son of Mitch. On the downbeat, we'll all sing, row, row, row your boat gently downstream. Merrily, 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 life's but a dream. Please make it nice and soft and easy and blending, so if Ed Sullivan walked in, we might get on the show Sunday. Just the girls. Men.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but...
You others. I don't fool around, buddy. War veteran, I told you I was a hero. Never forget when I captured all that stuff by myself. No. Were you overseas too, sir? Sure like the fellows fought side by side with me. 3 days we fought, hand-to-hand combat, karate, judo, rifle butts, tanks, flamethrowers, bazooka guns, 200 to 1. Toughest Japanese soldier we ever ran into. Ooh, that was mean little sucker, wasn't no taller than that. And if there's anything I hate, it's a goddamn midget. I understand hate, you must hate something. I see a midget, I get, oh, you... So you get mad with a midget, you can't even cut him, you got to stab him in the top of the head. Why'd you do that to me? And don't ever fight a midget unless you've done some midget fighting previously. Because if a midget bites you, you're in trouble. I mean, you're in serious trouble, because they ain't but this tall. Like most entertainers, when they come out, they dedicate their show to all the beautiful girls in the audience. You've heard that in most clubs you go in. Guy come out to sing, so I like to dedicate the show to all the beautiful girls. Well, that's wrong to leave out the ugly girls. It is. I dedicate my show to ugly people everywhere. That way I have more friends. Because there's more ugly people in... You can sit on the bus now. What day is this? Wednesday. Now, Thursday mornings, get on the bus somewhere, if you don't ride but 2 blocks. Get on the bus, it's worth the price. How much is it, a quarter? Pay a quarter for this. Sit on the bus and look across the aisle. When you sit down, don't look first, just sit down first and look across the aisle. Now, somebody ugly will be sitting across the aisle from you. Every single time. I don't know who sits next to the good-looking people, but I've never seen any on the bus. You'll look across the aisle and bust out laughing. No kidding. Now, if you look across the aisle and someone is already laughing, what can I tell you? There's a guy walked into his agent's office one time, and he tried looking for work. You know, he wanted a job. Thought he had a good acting show. His agent said, well, what you do? He had a big sledgehammer in his hand and a black bag. And he opened his black bag and took out a walnut and put it on top of his head and hit it with his sledgehammer. Crunch! The agent said, that's a short act, isn't it? He said, what you got in that black bag? Fella said, aspirin. It's cold. That's very good. Well, back to the gutter. Never slow me up, I know better. Say, you got a nice tan, you know that? No kidding, hell, if we ever took over, you could pass. I met a guy in the doorway tonight. As soon as I came into the session, he said, Foxx, you know, my father passed. I said, well, I didn't know he was that light. I'm standing up here fat now because of racial prejudice. I went out to Hollywood to get a part in the African picture, and they turned me down and said I was too light. So I put on 15 pounds. I'll be ready for them next time. They were making a picture about pygmies. You know what pygmies are? Those are compact spooks. I hope none of my folks get offended when I say spook, because I'd rather be called a spook than the big N. Somebody put an N on their lip, my knife opened up by itself. Can't even talk about Niagara Falls around me in Nigeria, that river with the 1G. I do not want. Another question. Another toast. What's a bar stool? A bar stool is what Davy Crockett used to step in. Here's a little poem. A little short sort of poem. A girl's legs are her best friends, but even the best of friends must part. I know about poverty. In fact, depression makes poverty look like a picnic. Shucks, we were poor in St. Louis in 1930. I wore one pair of tennis shoes 5 years. Same pair, I wore them out up to the name on the ankle. I was the only kid in the 7th grade that wore canvas spats. I'll never forget it, Christmas of 1931, our landlady got put out. Our furniture was on the street. My dad went in the alley and shot the rifle and told all the kids Santa Claus just committed suicide. We hung up our socks for Christmas. No kidding, we hung our socks up for Christmas. The health department made us take them down. I could mention some other things, but shucks, I just hate to cry. My grandmother was standing by the stove fixing to cook one Easter in case anything came. And my grandfather was in the backyard trying to catch a gopher with his crutch. And my grandmother, she called him and said, "Arthur, the garbage man's here." He said, "Well, tell him to leave 3 cans." Men don't love like they used to years ago. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Men really don't. They're not considerate. My grandfather wouldn't think of watching my grandmother get up and make a fire in the coal stove in that frosty, freezing winter time. So he slept with his face to the wall. Saying I want to mention animals. I haven't mentioned animals tonight. Dogs, for instance. A lot of people don't like dogs. Some of you here might not like dogs. Some fellas have been wanting a dog since they were little boys, and their wife don't have one now. I told my wife, she didn't want me to have a dog. And I told her right to her face. I said, "Listen, Herbert, if you ever..." See? There you go, meddling. I like dogs. I've heard people say, "Get that old dumb dog out of my way." I say, "Fool, how can a dog be dumb when they can understand English and you can't speak dog?" It's hard to speak dog. I've tried. And that growl hurts your throat. I saved my record money and bought me 22 acres, and I don't raise nothing but Doberman Pinschers and German Shepherds. 2,700 of them. Loose. So if you want to bring prejudice to my place, come on. My dogs don't know but 2 words. Eat 'em! I want to mention childless couples tonight because I know there must be some of you here married 5, 6, 7 years and don't have any children. And that's a miserable life going through with no kids in the house, no strawberry fingerprints on the TV, no peanut butter down the side of the couch, walls scarred up, light sockets torn out. Childless couples miss that. All they do all day is just lay on the beach drunk. Somewhere on a yacht, taking it easy. Childless couples don't know the thrill of watching their little boy grow from a little acorn into a complete nut. They're watching 5 years old run in the house. See your kid, 5 years old, run in the house with $150 worth of braces on his teeth, broken and bent on a 5-cent piece of peanut brittle. Childless couples. No, really, this is true. You must be miserable, you childless couples, wherever you are. You don't know what it means to do without so the child can have. Mothers and fathers know that. Childless couples don't know what it means to watch their little daughter, 9 years old, weighing 138, in ballet class, making an ass out of herself. Stumbling all over everybody else. Heels run over so far, you stand up straight and fall over backwards. Childless couples, wherever you are, friends, I love you. Childless couples don't know what it means to watch their daughter walk down the aisle, 21 years old, voluptuous. Could win any beauty prize and see her standing there in front of the altar with a junkie. This is intrigue. There's a lot of cases. I read about them in the different places. This guy came home and he said, there's been a man here. She said, darling, you must be wrong. You've been gone 6 weeks and I haven't even thought about another man. There's no man here. He said, don't tell me. He looked all over his crib, under the bed, out the window. He looked everywhere. Under the couch, over it, beside it. He looked in the closet, couldn't find nothing. He was satisfied. There wasn't nobody there, so he went in the bathroom, turned on the water, and getting his stuff ready to shave. And he looked up in the mirror, get his beard together, and he noticed the bathroom curtains were closed in the tub, in the shower. He said, that's unusual. So he went over there and snatched the curtains open. There's a cat standing in there. He said, hey, man, what the hell you doing? I ain't finished voting yet. Did you ever stop to think if the Pilgrims had shot bobcats instead of turkeys that we'd be eating pussy on Thanksgiving? And then what happened to tweezers? Pack up all my cares and woes. Here I go, swinging slow. Bye-bye. I don't sing that other line. Where somebody waits for me. Sugar's sweet and so is she. Bye-bye. Eagle, dove, parakeet, minor bird. No one here love or understand me. Oh, what hard luck stories they all try to hand me. So, baby, make my bed and lay down in it. I'll be home in about a minute. Groovy bird, bye-bye, fuchsia bird, chartreuse bird, aquamarine bird, baby, bye-bye. My subjects will vary tonight. I talk about sex and but something else I want to talk about.
We'll talk about sex first. It was a young couple in the park, in the dark, in the bushes, together. Alone, in the park, in the bushes, by the lagoon, in the bushes together. And in love with each other in the bushes. And the fella spoke first. The fella said, baby, I sure wish I had a flashlight so I could see what I was doing. She said, I wish you had a flashlight too, because you've been eating grass 15 minutes. I want to mention the cannibals because they're close to us, cousins. And cannibals have a lot of sense. People just put the cannibals down here lately after they ate those missionaries up. Those missionaries wasn't no food. They knew those cannibals didn't like broccoli and green peas, asparagus, candied yam. They don't want none of that stuff. They like kneecap, elbow, armpit, skull. I gotta dig some skull myself. And cannibals have manners and don't let nobody tell you any different. See, cannibals have good table manners. It's impolite to talk with somebody in your mouth. Isn't it? There was a cannibal chief and a witch doctor eating a missionary. Witch doctor said, Chief, I'm having a ball. Chief said, well, you eating too fast. How many folks here from out of town? It's a beautiful mink, darling. My wife's been begging me for one. She said, Foxx, what'll I have to do to get a mink? I said, you gonna have to do like the minks do, only steadier. And with strangers. I was down there in Orange County. A guy walked up in the club where I was working and said, hey, boy, come here. I said, boy, hell, you must have caught me in swimming when it was cold. I ain't no damn boy. He looked at me and said, you know, I like colored people. I said, well, that's weird. Me too. He said, a colored mammy raised me. I said, and one raised me. He said, I nursed a colored mammy's breast. I said, well, you lucky I didn't get to a white one until I was 22. Well, say, listen. What the hell difference it make what color the chick you with is when you go home and pull the light out? See, color disappears with the light out. When the light goes out, it becomes a question of who watched. See, like some guy wrote in a magazine, Negroes have odors. I wrote him a letter. I said, man, if you was hauling garbage and cleaning out sewers, and when you got off from work, the toilet was locked up, and you didn't have no key, you'd get on the bus funky too. It's plain and simple. And some other idiot wrote in the magazine, Negro girls have illegitimate babies. They do, but they have them. Bible did not say thou shalt not bastard, else some of us wouldn't have made it. Because we know who our mothers are, but remember Speedy Gonzales. Herb Arrester. It was a mountain family having dinner down in Kentucky. And the young boy reached across the table after a hot biscuit, and his mother looked at his father and said, Paul, how old is that boy now? Paul said, must be around 11 or 12, Mom. Mom said, we got to get that boy some pants. You see what he just drugged through them mashed potatoes? Only one thing kept me out of college, high school. That high school was tough, and grammar school, I couldn't spell at all. I used to miss words like posse. And count. I always left the U out. Teacher gave me 100, though. He said it could have been worse. There's some good-looking folks here tonight. A few ugly ones here and there. You know who you are, you ugly rascals. There was an old ugly broad got on the bus today, big old fat broad, weighed about 240. She had on 4 girdles. Big old. She looked at the bus driver, she had this dog on her coat. Bus driver said, "You can't get on this bus with no dog." She said, "Well, you know what you can do with your old bus." He said, "Yeah, and if you do the same thing with that dog, you can ride."
I was a virgin, and she was really frustrated. I guess that would be the right word. You know, she was suffering from acute nervousness due to repressed desire. And she went to the doctor to see what he could do, and the doctor looked at her, and he lost his cool. She was so fine. He said, "Take off all your clothes." And he couldn't disguise that lust in his voice. He said, "Take off everything." And now lay down on this couch. He said, "Now close your eyes and very slowly, very, very slowly spell bedroom." She said, B-E-D-R-O. The traveling salesman spent the night on the Indian reservation, and while he was there, he managed to shack up for the night with the chief's daughter. And everything was wonderful except all the while they were in the teepee together, she hollered, "Wahoo! Wahoo! Wahoo!" And the next morning, this cat was leaving the reservation. The salesman asked an old Indian who was standing there at the gate, he said, "Man, what does wahoo mean?" He said, "Wahoo means wrong hole." See, sometimes you have to drink to get the kind of feeling that you want. And girls, let me tell you this. Girls, zombies are deceiving. Take 2 at the very most. Take 3 and you're under the table. Take 4 and you're under the host. Man, what do you say, brother-in-law? Just show you I'm a professional. Look at me, look, half the crowd left. Does that bother me? Hell, I've worked to this many. I worked just as hard for this many as I'd work for 10,000. I've been known to entertain 1. See, at my age, you can't do too many push-ups. But I can still chin. And that's important. My wife and I have a great relationship. You know, our son, we gave him a chemistry set for Christmas. And our son took that chemistry set. I said, "Gene, what has that boy got there?" He got a big jar of stuff he had made up. You could put it on a prune and smooth that prune out. Just take all the wrinkles out of it. I said, "Well, hell, I'll take some of that and use it there and put some on my old lady's face." So I said, "Let me have some of that, boy." And I told my old lady about it. She put it on her face, but it didn't work. But I'm telling you, we got the smoothest prunes where we live. If you want your prunes smoothed out, sometimes you like to get your prunes smoothed out. He's so young, he blushes with everything. Y'all will grow up. Why don't y'all get drunk tonight and go somewhere and blame it on whiskey? On me? Don't blame it on me. I educated young America. No kidding. 10 years ago, when the first album came out, kids, it's important to let your kids sneak and play these records because things that they won't ask you, they hear on the record. Look, I met an old chick. Well, I wouldn't say an old chick. She looked good. It was 5 minutes to 2. And she was sitting there, and I leaned over 9 seats and spoke to her. I said, "Hey, sugar, you like cocktails?" She said, "Yeah, tell me a few." See, let me tell you about happiness is so important in marriage. It was a young couple many, many years ago, before the automobile, and they got married, and they were going down this country road in one of those buggies, horse and buggy, and the horse stumbled. So the fellow was sitting there, he said, "That's one." And he went a little further, about a half a mile, and the horse stumbled again. He said, "That's two." He went about another half a mile, and the horse stumbled again. He said, he got out of his buggy and took his rifle and shot that horse right through the head. And his wife started, what you kill that horse for? We stuck out here in the woods, man. What the hell's wrong with you? Why you shoot that horse and knowing that we ain't got but one horse? I don't understand what kind of man you. He said, "That's one. They've been together 50 years. I guess that's just one of those clean groups. I like your goatee there, sir. Sort of like an equalizer. Yes, sir. Smokey the Bear said it. You got to fight fire with fire. I said, I'll take a part of the day watching them hose a friend of mine off. His insurance was below $300. Get your insurance up. That's no good, a $300 policy. The undertaker gets $295 of it. They buried my friend so shallow, a puppy could dig him up. So, you know, they had a few vice raids out here in California not too long ago here in Los Angeles. And, pardon me, anyone have any tweezers? They had this vice raid, and they picked up quite a few of the girls, and 3 of them went before the judge, and they was a little bit of drug because they had been busted. The judge quieted them all down. They were there arguing about what was going to happen to them. The first girl, she looked up at the judge and said, "What's your business?" She said, "Well, Judge, I'm a dressmaker, and these awful policemen," he said, 30 days. Second girl walked up. He said, "What's your business?" She said, "Honor, I'm a dressmaker with a family to support and a crippled mother and a dying baby and 30 days. That's what the judge said to her, 30 days. He said, "What's your business?" to the third girl. She said, "Well, Judge, I'm a prostitute." The judge said, "Well, how's business?" She said, "Judge, with all these dressmakers out here, I can't get a quarter." Any dressmakers in the audience? Any? I just asked, Al. You never know. I mean, if you never ask, that's why a lot of people, you know what I mean, don't know. Thank you, dear. Could you just laugh out freely? That's right. Don't wait for nobody else. People are not going to die for you. You ever been to a funeral and people be there crying, oh, Lord, don't take him, take me. If the Lord would open up that church ceiling and say, swag.
All right, come on.
Wait a minute, baby, wait a minute. See, you know, they got this thing going, this job thing going out and watching your way to go and get you a job and everything. One cat went out there, spook cat. No, Negro fella. No, Negro fella went out to see about a job. And he had a job going to a restaurant to go get a job in this restaurant because he knew the lady that was running the restaurant. Pretty good, not too well, but pretty good. He went to see about the job. The next day he came back, he was shaking his head because he didn't get the job. And they asked him, said, "Well, what happened? You didn't get the job?" He said, "Well, I went to see this lady," and she said, "Well, give me your name and occupation." Everything seemed all right to me. And she asked me for my name and occupation. Said, then it was a waiter's job. She said, "Well, set the table up for me." He said, "I set the table up fine for her." And then she asked me to show her my testimonials. That's where I made my big mistake.